This is Glow by Grace, a space where I do my nails and say the things I think a lot of us feel but don't always say out loud. Stay a while. Nobody really talks about this part of growing up, the grief part. Not grieving a person, not grieving a relationship, but grieving a version of yourself that never actually existed. A version you were so sure you'd become by now. I had this image of myself at this age. What I'd have, what I'd feel like, how certain everything would seem. And I think I held onto that image for a really long time, without realizing it was quietly making me feel like I was failing. Because when reality doesn't match the picture in your head, even a picture you made up, it still hurts. It still feels like loss. And I think what makes it complicated is that nobody validates that grief. Because from the outside, your life might look completely fine. Good, even. And so you feel strange mourning something that technically never existed. But it was real to you. That future self was real. You planned around her. You made decisions based on her. You measured yourself against her for years. And at some point, you have to look up and go, okay, she's not coming. And that's not a failure. That's just a life doing what life does, which is absolutely nothing like what you planned. I think what helped me was separating two things that I'd been mixing up for a long time: grieving who I thought I'd be and accepting who I actually am. Because you can do both. You're allowed to feel the loss of that imagined version while also showing up for the real one. They're not in conflict. In fact, I think you kind of have to do the first one before you can fully do the second. You have to let yourself feel it. Sit with the disappointment. Acknowledge that somewhere along the way, the plan changed. And even if the new direction is good, it's still okay to mourn the old one. The version of you that you imagined, she deserves a proper goodbye. Not because you failed her, but because you outgrew the story she lived in. And that's actually a sign that you've been moving, changing, living, even when it didn't feel that way. The you from 5 years ago couldn't have predicted where you are now. And the you from right now can't fully predict where you'll be 5 years from now either. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's actually the point. And I think the hardest part is that nobody gives you permission to grieve it. Because people around you see your life and think, what's there to be sad about? You have good things, you're doing fine, and you are. But doing fine and feeling like the life you're living is the one you actually wanted, those are two completely different things. And confusing them is something I did for a really long time. I kept telling myself I was grateful, and I was. But underneath that gratitude was this quiet sadness I didn't know what to do with. This feeling of, I don't even know exactly what I lost, but something shifted, and I haven't fully made peace with it yet. And I think a lot of women my age are carrying that, quietly, without naming it, just feeling vaguely behind or vaguely off, without being able to point to exactly why. So if that's you, if you've been carrying something you couldn't quite find the words for, maybe this is it. Maybe you've just been grieving a version of yourself you never got to be. And maybe the first step is just letting yourself admit that. Not to fix it, not to spiral about it, just to acknowledge it. If any of this resonated with you, save this video for the next time you need a reminder, and I'll see you in the next one.